Niscam, Niscam, way, 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 hey. Niscam, Niscam, way, hey. Niscam, Niscam, way, hey, way, hey, hey. Niscam, Niscam, way, hey. Niscam, Niscam, way, hey, way, hey, hey. Niscam, Niscam, way, hey.
This is from Rating Sweetbreast by Robin Wall Kimmerer. She says, "You can smell it before you see it. A sweetgrass meadow on a summer day. The scent flickers on the breeze. You sniff like a dog on the scent, and then it's gone, replaced by boggy tang, the boggy tang of wet ground, and then it's back. The sweet vanilla fragrance, beckoning. A lot like happiness, right?"
Yes, yes. And I'm sure anyone who sees that and experiences that is smiling.
Oh, now the camera went out. Oh, here we go.
Evan Pritchard, welcome to Moccasin Tracks.
Okay, yes.
Hi,
Good to be
Evan.
back.
Can
Hi
you
there.
Rick here, and I don't know if you can see us on the video, but we see you and we hear you,
Yes,
which is so
I
excellent.
see you.
You know, when we talked about what our topic would be today, there were a lot of gatherings that have been happening, and of course, it continues through the summer with social gatherings, um, ceremony gatherings, and what we gather as individuals, and what is really kind of fun to think about too. And so we wanted to be gathering happiness and joy and sharing that with each other. And, so we wanted to talk about that a little bit. And what happens sometimes at ceremonies, and how to prepare ourselves for gathering, and also to be like crows as we gather too. So, in bird medicine, which we read and talked to you about once, we learned about the crows gathering. Thousands of crows. And, you know, what can we, how can we share with our listeners that sense of gathering, and what that means in the natural world?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, gathering happens in the non-human world as well as in the human world, all of which is part of nature. And, it has to do with affinity, with, members of the same species coming together. It's not all verbal. It's not all on the internet. Sometimes it happens through a kind of a synchronicity that happens because they're related, because the vibrations, if you want to say, that of their energies are the same or similar, and maybe they're not exactly the same, but they attract, and so it's natural. It's a function of the organism. We're all part of an anthrosphere. If you're human, you're part of an anthrosphere. There's like this whole larger entity, and it's nice to tap into the oneness of that rather than focusing on our, how you say, individualism only goes so far, but it's good. But then, you want to tap into that wholeness. As you say in Enigma, the wholeness is what's holy, and so we just reconstruct that wholeness in our gatherings. We may not even see it at the moment, but it's there. And if you think about it afterwards, about the gathering that you went to, then you can kind of see it better, I think.
What can we learn about, our non-human friends to help us to gather in a good way?
Well, the birds, arrive like where you and I live is slightly different, but the same story is that the different species migrate, and the migratory birds, they arrive at different times. sometimes a few days apart. You know, you'll have one species and then a few days later another, you know, rolls into town, and they all start singing the minute they hit the branches. And sometimes they sound a little tentative at first, right? Like, is anybody out there? Hello, you know, we're here. And then another few days, another species, and then another, and they all make a different song. And then there's this moment, you know, there's a dawn where they all kind of, in our, you know, the Aboriginal mind, there's this picture of a, you know, of them all lining up and facing the east and singing as a giving of thanks. You know, we sing, and so they, you know, they sing their own song and they say their own name in a sense, and they say, "I'm here, Chickadee, and I am singing praise for the day I've awoken to." And so humans, you know, used to do that, and hopefully they still do, like those birds, you know, like they come at different times. They're different places, different species, and they come together. But the gathering itself is a whole different thing, has its own energy. None on Beltane, by the way, I was hanging out with my friends inside, and at 9 o'clock, this beam of light crashed through the window from over the mountain, and it was right on Beltane morning. And someone said, "What the heck was that?" Because all of a sudden there was all this light, and I said, "That's Beltane," you know. But also, I mean, that's the Celtic word, but the quadrants and the 8-part holiday, which is life, is you know, is real for Native people. And an archaeologist told me the other day that according to the alignments in all of these various thousands of sacred sites that where they have alignments, that the most common are the spring or vernal equinox and the summer solstice. And that's when things are coming in. That's when you know, life is coming in and coming to a new stage. And you mentioned the flowers, you know, of course, Beltane, or what we say, you know, May Day or whatever name you want to give it, because it is also a Native American sort of holiday. It's a lesser one, but it's you know, it's important. Is when the flowers all really explode. You know, they come in earlier, a lot of them, but then on Beltane, it's like that morning where all the birds sing. It's the same thing for the flowers on Beltane or May Day. This is universally recognized. You know, you hear it all over. But the flowers all kind of sing silent songs with their petals, and all their colors unfold, and it's joyful and it's really happy. And I can say for sure, looking at some of the old quill work and the bandoliers from hundreds of years ago, our Eastern Algonquins really liked flowers, and these are often done by men, you know, and warriors would wear quill work sometimes into battle, depending on the situation, and they would be floral. And so it shows you, you know, historically that our, you know, some of our tough old, you know, warrior guys were wearing flowers because it celebrates life. And the bandoliers and some of the decorative ornamentation, which is shamanic in nature, would have flowers as energy. It would be not symbolic, but something actual energy.
Yeah, yeah. Rick, do you feel inclined, as when you're doing your artwork, to duplicate what you recognize as, you know, the seasons, or, you know,
Well,
do you relate to
yeah,
that
I
in
would
a
have
way?
to say yes. But I've been getting great pleasure recently out of going to my favorite coffee place in the morning and drawing customers and workers there.
Wow. Yeah.
It's been,
Cool.
it's amazing. I'm having so much fun doing it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, people are like a little bit like flowers, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
They're all different, very colorful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say that I was just talking to Tony Moonhawk, and he's going to be helping to organize a gathering at Kanajahilege, in Fonda, New York, with the Mohawk for the Strawberry Festival, which used to happen years ago, and people always felt very safe there, and a lot of people would come from all over, and then they had to stop. So they're starting over with a whole new approach. But just the fact that Tony Moonhawk's there, I think gives a lot of people a sense of that safety and that somebody's looking out for you, because he's done a lot of gatherings, a lot of powwows, and so he pulls the vendors together in ways they feel respected, and the speakers, and also they're going to do a celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Two Row Wampum campaign, which I was a part of, and I'm going to do my own celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Two Row Wampum on a different day also. So I'm going to have at least 2 times to go Yahoo for the the Two Row Wampum campaign, which was done with a lot of elders and a lot of guidance. I mean, Oran Lions on down, and everybody felt safe. And we even had, in my gathering that I organized, we had all these performers on stage, a lot of them all Native American musicians, a lot of them Grammy winners and recording artists. And then we had the 300 canoes come in, all part of the Two Row. And then we had the Unity riders come, and the horses came right in through the audience, and just everybody was so conscious, and nobody got hurt. The horses were the most well-behaved of everyone, of all our people. The 4-legged people were the most well-behaved, and they didn't, upset anybody. So this time, when June 24th, up in Fonda, we'll have another one, but also the whole day will be the Strawberry Festival, where we're celebrating fruits. The berries, and the berry calendar is a part of our native tradition, where you tell time by the berries, and of course strawberries are big in late June. And so also the July 30th at the rail trail in Rosendale, right on the trail, there's a cafe, the Rail Trail Cafe. We're going to have a little honoring of the 10th anniversary of the Two Row. But anybody who wants information about the events that are coming up with me, they can just, probably best to email me right now at evan.pritchard7@gmail, because in case the website isn't up to date. There's a lot of gatherings.
I want to add, it's been 10 years since the I think it was in 2012, but that original celebration was actually celebrating 400 years of when the first treaties were exchanged, and what was exchanged was actually wampum. And so when we talk about the Two Row Wampum, it is actually a wampum bell.
And the beauty of the flowers and the birds and their happiness. There's a certain happiness in the song of a bird, and you can't really analyze it scientifically, I don't think, except, hey, they're out there trying to make their life happen and maybe find a mate or whatever. And so there's a certain creativity, there's a certain joie de vivre, among the birds. Flowers, make you happy. Everybody, I think, agrees that flowers make you happy. And what's the basis of that? Well, it just, everybody knows it, And one thing is, if you're at a gathering and somebody does something that makes you feel bad, I've asked people, what do you do? And a lot of people, just Native people I talk to, agree that if you go out in the natural world and just really go directly to the birds and the flowers and the trees, it has an instantaneous effect on your mood. And that's really true. And trees absorb your anger. By the way, I've found through experimentation, if you have a lot of angry energy, you can literally touch a tree and the trees love it. It doesn't feel like anger to them, according to what I've been told.
All right. So we have these gatherings happening, but some are really site specific. And in your research and some of the map making research that you've been doing, Can you tell us about any sites that you have come across that you recognize as a gathering place?
Yeah, actually, this morning, or late last night, I finished a map of Lower Manhattan that, graphically digitized, published, and finished. 20 years in the making, but finally finished it. And Lower Manhattan with a lot of the sacred sites, a lot of the gathering spots. So there's several on that map, and one, believe it or not, is near Astor Place in Manhattan, and it was called the Kintakoying, the dance gathering space. And so we know for sure they had powwows there, and that's a intersection with what's now Astor Place, and sorry, I lost my camera, between Astor Place and Bowery. So that's for sure. And there's others on there too, down at the bottom of Bowling Green, where the Moccasin Trail ends. There's actually quite a few in Manhattan. So people, back on the 500th anniversary of Columbus's landing, which a lot of people have been feelings about, somebody painted the giant medicine wheel right on that spot. And it was a big solar disc with the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. And it said 500 years of, I think it said resistance.
Of it all. How do we keep it going?
Well, my answer, number one, is through art. Is one of the major, functions, let's say, of our artistic activity, is that we can have springtime any time of year, even when it's, we're snowed in, it's really dark. We can still have this creative flow coming in to our houses, our wigwams, through art, through painting flowers and making music that makes us feel that way. And of course, there's many arts, right? Could be anything. Could be making fuller or leather work. And it's just that feeling of helping creation continue that brings that we become the harbingers of spring, even if it's middle of winter.
Yeah. Well, it's important to do. Do you do that, Rick, with your art? Carry on the joy by, continuing to do your art?
At times, but art also is a way, it can be very therapeutic for people. And if someone's having a rough time, it's a great way to put some closure on some things and wrestle with your demons outside yourself. So it's not always about joy, but I agree with Evan that you can channel the joy that you're seeking.
Yeah.
Now, also, when you're doing art and there's a certain, maybe at first you don't feel the focus, and then sometimes it kicks in, and then you're totally focused on one thing, and then it becomes a single point of meditation. And then you forget your problems, whatever it is you're dealing with. You may be switched over to like a whole other world that you create and enter into, and that's like, again, like a spring, like dawning a new world. Makes me happy.
Yeah. Gathering happiness. Well, at kind of the other end of the spectrum, we talked a little bit about the power of silence. And did you have that writing that you were going to read about, Evan? I don't know if you, Evan.
Right, this is from Aiming True. You Are My Memory. I wrote this in a book, Aiming True. It's 100 sayings, the little bits of native wisdom, but expressed in a general way. So number 70 is better to be silent than to speak with no purpose. I'll read this out loud, which is ironic. I'm sure you've gathered the irony. The great speakers, the great teachers are open to silence And from that small opening, great wisdom is given birth. If you claim the right to silence, you will be granted thunder. If you insist on the right to darkness, you will be able to hurl lightning bolts. When a wise teacher is thrown a deep question, he or she seeks deep down below the surface to fish out a deep answer. If the parent isn't patient enough to wait for his thoughts to resurface, he is not ready for the answer. Sometimes the answer may take a minute, a day, or a year. What's the difference? A glib answer is forgotten and floats away in a moment. But a deep answer stands like a marker for years of future travelers. And what if the answer doesn't come? Then the teacher becomes the student and life becomes the teacher until the answer is found. That is the expansion of the known universe. So thank you for asking.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Evan Pritchard. You know, we're talking about gathering and gathering happiness, and can you share maybe
Yeah,
a
sure.
personal
You know, I was at this gathering, and we were celebrating Norman Miller, and Ted Timmerick sent a film clip to honor Norman Miller, and I was in it. It was some film he had taken to me, and it was a creative project we did, and it was totally by surprise, and I didn't know that any of this was going to happen at all. So it made me happy, and I think Norman Miller was happy, and the audience was happy. So we all were on the same page. It's that sometimes the element of surprise that makes you laugh, like a good joke. You know, the surprise is part of it. And when you're in nature and you find something beautiful that you didn't know was there, there's an element of surprise too. And when you're at a gathering, you're often meeting people you didn't expect to see. And of course, that's that element of surprise. So it's like the universe is having a little joke, but it's, you know, it's all good. It's like it's that surprise element makes you smile. Because you're not worrying about it, you know.
right?
So do you want me to play my gathering song?
Sure.
The one.
So this is a song, and there's a story of this song. This is a very, very, very old song. And then it goes, like, I'll sing it to you. It's about, yo watate way. It means everything's okay, and everything's right, and please come and join us in what we're doing. See? So I wanted to add a little guitar part to make you feel maybe a little more sentimental about these ancient times. Yo, watate way, watate way, watate way. 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 So that's the sweetness that many elders feel through the old days, where you can just kind of join in. And so if I were to translate this song and sing it this way, come and sing a song, and sing a song, and sing a song. Come and join along, and join along, and join along. A song about the way they used to play all through the day, and dance the night away, and kid decay, and kid decay. Makes me want to cry. Kid decay is a power dance, a sacred dance. And now this part I want you to sing. Yo, watate way, watate way.
Yeah, that's great. Rick, in our final couple minutes here, do you have any questions or comments for Evan?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Evan, for being on the show today. It's a great honor to always see you. And I hope that you're having a wonderful springtime and we'll have an even better summer.
Yeah.
Well, now that you've said that, I will, I will definitely try to have a great day and a great spring and a great summer. And you do the same to you.
Thank you.
That you continue to from your well of inspiration, which is miraculous.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, we gather together every week to do this radio show. We're happy to be with each other, and we hope that it is received in a good way. So, Evan, thank you for being with us. Do you have any closing comments? We only have a couple more minutes.
Yes. I miss you guys, and the distance will never become a barrier between us. And if technology helps, then so be it. But gathering is a great joy and something to look forward to get together to share our in the moment spontaneity, which is the way that the flowers greet each other, just in the moment with all their beauty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Evan.
Yeah, it would be great to see you.
Yeah.
Work on it.
We'll work on that.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. Well, until we see you again, adio, and be healthy and travel well. Ole Bumpkini.
Be in good health, safe and sound. There is no word for goodbye, 'cause we'll be seeing you around. Onagaki,